Hi everybody, welcome back to Bobby's Bees, and today I wanted to go over splitting your hive. The other day one of our hives swarmed, and that does mean that your hive is healthy and booming, but it's never fun to watch $200 worth of bees fly away. And I just wanted to talk about, if I had my choice, I would have went through all the hives that day and looked for swarm cells. And I would have taken one swarm cell, a frame that had a new queen that was getting ready to emerge. I would take that frame and I would just put it in a 5-frame nuc or another deep hive body or a queen castle, which a castle is basically a box just like a normal hive, but it has separated chambers. So you kind of have like 2 or 3 hives in one. We have a queen castle that has 3 chambers, 3 frames apiece, and it has 3 different entrances for every hive. It's pretty cool. I recommend getting or making a castle. It's great for springtime when you're doing splits like this. So I was able to do more splits using that queen castle than it was a lot easier using the queen castle than it was carrying all those nucs out, and that was just a really hectic day. I was scrambling. I told the kids, I really need your help. Bring all the boxes out. I was in a full body suit because there was just bees everywhere. And normally I don't really like to wear the full body suit unless it's a day like that when I'm going through all the hives. But we managed to do 8 splits, and now we have a lot more hives, and it's really fun to look. You'll see over my shoulder that there's just all this bee activity, and it's so nice to see them all flying and all. Every hive has activity, and it's one of those, splitting your hive is one of those things that a lot of people don't really want to do. They spend all this time and energy getting their hives stacked up to 2 boxes tall and getting them overwintering your bees, and then somebody tells you, well, split your hive. Splitting your hive is actually a great swarm preventative, and it's always good to have more hives because you never know if they're going to overwinter or not, and you want to have other resources. So I recommend splitting your hive. It's not one of those things where you have to worry about it, especially springtime, because flowers and pollen and nectar, they're so abundant. It's never a better time than springtime. So in worst case scenario, if your queen gets eaten by a dragonfly or gets knocked down by rain or for whatever reason doesn't make it back, then just shake those bees into another hive. You still have the bees, or you can always, you can next time just order a queen and just add a queen into your cage. So on that day, I was going through hives, finding swarm cells, and every time I found a frame with a swarm cell on it, that would be a potential new split. So all I would really do is add food and pollen and maybe an empty frame. I had a bunch of frames with drawn out comb on them, so it would make all those splits a lot easier. And then as soon as I got done splitting, I put a little bit of pollen in each hive for some food. So I used several different things to split. I used the queen castle, which is 2 to 3 chambers of separate hives in one deep body. And again, I'm not worried, because if it doesn't work out, I can always just shake the bees back into any hive that seems to be weaker than the others. Now, as you go through in the next few weeks, see if I find any eggs. And if I do, and I'll follow up with you guys, and I'll tell you how many hives are queen right. And it's really simple. Because the more hives you have, the harder it is to keep track. So you really want to take notes. Or you can paint the brick on one side and you'll know, white means queen right. Another way to do splits is you can just take your double deep box right next to it and put the top on. Put the tops on, walk away. Come back in a week. Check to see if you have swarm cells. You're gonna have swarm cells, probably. And you'll know which hive has the queen, because you'll still see eggs and everything. It's just important to make sure each box does have eggs. You may have to take eggs out of one hive and swap to make sure there's eggs in both boxes, to make sure both boxes have the ability, because you don't know, unless you found your queen, which one to put eggs in. The hive that was originally there, that's going to get all the foragers coming back. So you can leave her with a little less, because she's going to get all the foragers. So then you come back in a week and you start splitting up using swarm cells, okay, using Nucs and castles and maybe another deep boxes if you have them. But I recommend keeping your bees small as you can, because when hives are small, they always want to get bigger. They always work harder. A lot of people just want to put supers on top of their hives and walk away and just say, hey, I'm all set for the season. And it's like they don't work as hard when they're not as close to maxing out their capacity. They'll work a little bit harder when they think that they're almost to max capacity so they can start swarming. Just remember not to throw on those supers too soon, because bees will work a little harder when you keep them small. So, so we talked about using castles, we talked about using Nucs. I'll leave a link in the description to show everyone how to make 4 Nucs out of one piece of plywood. I totally recommend that. I mean, for 20 bucks you can make all these Nucs, and if you stain them and polyurethane them, they'll last you for years. So, I mean, if you want to do that, when you're making splits without swarm cells, I would give it 2-3 weeks before you re-inspect. Now, if you have a swarm cell, again, I probably would give it a week to 2 weeks before re-inspecting. So, because that all takes time. She's got to go out on her mating flight, and again, when she starts laying eggs, it's only going to be about 100 a day. Then it goes 100. It just keeps going up every single day till it maxes out around 2,000, right around there. Just be patient with your queen. The bees will know if they need to supersede or make a change. So I hope this video helps somebody out there. If you guys have any questions, or if you don't like the way I'm doing something, please let me know, and maybe I can learn something. I always am learning something with beekeeping, and I really appreciate anybody who takes the time to make comments and give me some constructive criticism. I like making videos, and I really appreciate it when somebody takes the time to share something with me, so thank you for that. So right around late June, I'll do another follow-up video, and I'll show you how many queens were successfully mated, and how many hives we have that are queen right. So, and appreciate everybody watching. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, we'll see you on the next video.